When we're talking about Indigenous assertions of jurisdiction, we have to recognize that for a long period of time now, virtually since Confederation, that assertion of jurisdiction has been grossly interfered with by the government in Canada. And as a result, the ability of Indigenous communities to experience the evolution of that jurisdiction, the evolution of leadership, the assertion of leadership, the natural growth of leadership has been stymied by federal government action. Which is not to say that we haven't had leaders, and not to say that we haven't had some form of government, but it isn't a form of government that traditionally would have been in place and traditionally would have evolved over the period of time since Confederation. And as a result, if we are now going to proceed forward in asserting self-determination and jurisdiction and a nation-to-nation relationship in accordance with our own traditions and teachings and sense of who we are as a people, we have to recognize that first we may have to recapture many of those teachings and understandings and figure out how to put them into modern-day behavior. The problem that we now have when it comes to Indigenous people exercising their right to nationhood, their right to self-determination, is that the government has layered on significant pieces of legislation, federal laws, and in some cases provincial laws that interfere with the ability to exercise the right to self-government, the right to education, the right to manage the welfare of children, the right to provide and obtain medical services for their people. And so as a result of that, all of that's going to have to be unpacked. And it begins by identifying what they are. What are the issues that stand in the way of self-determination today? What stands in the way of our ability to exercise our right to self-government, our right to our nationhood, and what can we do about it? Who do we have to deal with to get them undone, or revoked, or repealed, or amended? And what is it that they have to do in order to be able to allow Indigenous people to be who they want to be? Well, Indigenous communities are going to have to begin to assert themselves. They're going to have to begin to come to terms with the past and be able to move forward. You can't walk into the future backwards, so that means that continually looking back at what's gone wrong in the past is not going to allow you to be able to develop a vision for the future. And that vision for the future needs to include what is it that we want to be like in 50 years or 100 years from now? And what is it that we need to do today in order to make that happen? And that includes things like addressing some very basic needs, addressing the very important issues of the relationship problems that we have with other nations, the damage done to our family structures and our community structures, and putting in place those means that will allow us to fix that within the upcoming few generations so that we can allow our children and their children the opportunity to make this this country a better country for them.